Good morning, all our viewers all around the world. Thank you for joining in today. This is News Insight on Landslide. Careful, you're looking. You want me to take you away?
No, that'll be 14 years. You're in Nigeria. But thank you anyway. That'll be 14 years behind bars. We don't do that here.
No, you are misjudging the whole thing.
So that you will not be judged.
You're not prophetic this morning. Are you okay?
I'm just wondering what will happen to you guys 14 years behind the bars.
All right. Now, that's the... I don't know whether it's 14 years they are asking for from Pat Utomi for forming a shadow government. And I really don't know what he's thinking. One thing we've always stood for is that people should do things, whether they are government officials or they are citizens, they are what they call rights and obligations.
Yeah.
Now, the government has obligations, the citizen has right.
Yeah.
Your obligation you do to the government.
Yeah.
You can't tell us you are forming a shadow government and naming people to the shadow government. The people, I don't know if he has communicated with them and told them that you are going to be in charge of it, because I saw Deliverotimi's name there, and it's just out of place.
Yeah.
There could be other ways of criticizing the government, but not this at all. I think it's out of line. Okay.
Yes, sincerely, I think we talked about it here, that shadow governments are the things that you see it formed in places like UK, even though they don't have one at the moment. It is legal. They even come to sitting. As a matter of fact, they are known, they have a secretariat, they have office, it is a known structure and is allowed. Okay, in our own constitutional democracy, we don't have anything like that. Okay, so, but I must say clearly, even though people are lashing out against DSS for going to court or doing things like that, I think I would actually commend them. I would commend DSS for going to court. I keep saying it, that the day our law enforcement agents realize that their singular work is to pilot a case to the court, that is where their functions stop. The day they realize that, the better for all of us. They don't have the power to try you. They don't have power to say you are a criminal. They don't even have power to say this. They just have to be able to make any case available to the court, the judiciary. And somehow they are not even part of judiciary. They are controlled by executive. So you have to realize that another government is in charge of trial. I would commend DSS. It's not like they arrested him. It's not like they gagged him. And if you also look at their prayers, that they should declare such unconstitutional. And second one, that they should have a kind of perpetual injunction restraining him from doing that kind of in the future. That sounds a little bit, kind of balanced, showing that their objective is not really to gag him or start to arrest him.
Arbitrary arrest.
It shows further that DSS, or actually any law enforcement agent, can take a matter to the court, even while the person is not physically in their detention or having not been arrested before.
It doesn't have to be the use of force.
It doesn't have to be use of force. You don't have to hold him before you go to court. This is proactive. It shows that DSS, they appear truthful in this case. But my own my own assessment of the whole thing, because they are saying that this could kind of stimulate other secessionists, people who, bad at us, in trying to say, okay, we have our own government now. This is kind of proactive. And when something is proactive, you don't need to have gagged somebody, arrest this and that, before taking to court. Going to court is always good for me any day. Any day.
All right. Before I make some, your take on DSS taking the matter to court by Pat Utomi.
Yes, like he has rightly said, it's quite commendable, the approach in this particular matter, because we are all citizens. And if you think that my utterances or actions can cause, because we live in a country where a lot of people are not literate, and even the literate ones, we have a lot of sentimental problems here and there across the nation. We have people who are in support of the government with everything they have. We have people that feel the government is not doing enough for them, like people in Benue, Plateau, some other region of the country in terms of security. We have people who feel that what they earn is not enough for them. People who are already getting tired of the government, even though government is telling us to be patient. And so if you allow a very respected and known name, in the country, to come up and say a thing like this, it could be misleading. And like he has rightly said, provided it's not part of our constitutional right to have a parallel government, even though you're not forming a government with any intention of overtaking the government, the understanding is lied between you and few others. A lot of illiterate out there could just sit in the beer parlor or under the tree in the village and discuss about there's a new government in everything is possible. Now, but the beauty of it again is that the DSS did not just rush to court. From what they say, they've tried to reach out to him because, of course, for him to give maybe a press statement to denounce that, to dissolve it, and yet he said he's not wrong. But what we're looking at here is that, is it part of our constitution? So now, and then what the DSS is asking the court to do are things that will bring about peace in case of people who may not understand, the intentions of Pat Utomi. So I think it's now left for the court, of course, to equally address this thing in a very beautiful manner. The DSS have presented it. Look into it. If this will add values to the country, if it will not, call Pat Utomi to order and then give him a court restriction for further on this. Yes.
All right. I think and I agree with what he said, that it's not always right for the DSS to just hule people and put them in detention. There's a place the government, the constitution allows the operatives of government to act to. There's also a place in the constitution that make sure that you as a citizen doesn't go beyond. And I think this marriage will be very good if everybody know that I can't do this, I can do this. Now, I'm just getting to hear now that the DSS had invited him.
Not necessarily invitation. There were reports that there were efforts made to reach out to him. That
I know he's not in the country.
He became defiant, yes.
Okay, I know he's not in the country. Now, at that point, if you're trying to reach out to him and you're defiant in what you said you will do, that you must do it, at that point, there will be coercion. There will be use of force, because you can't just do what you want to do, which is not in our constitution. And I quite appreciate the fact that you said that the DSS should change their modus operandi and do
not
things.
Not necessarily change. We can't recommend for them on what to do, but they should act within the ambience of the law. And we are quite happy that in this case,
yes,
they approach the court.
Exactly.
There are cases where they say, they arrested somebody, they refuse to charge the person to court,
and they refuse to leave the person alone.
When anybody is charged to court, why should you blame them? Why will you blast somebody that's taking any matter to the court? I think I commend their actions by proactively going to court.
But I will also suggest to the DSS that most of the time, invitation. I didn't read that part that said he was defiant, and the one thing I know that he's not in town.
He's not.
But most of the time, hold on. Most of the time, I think they should all do is first of all to invite the person. Now, when is there a case of maybe the person is armed and all that stuff?
But this case now, the issues of shadow government is not something limited to action of Pat Utomi alone. Their concern is that people could misunderstand it, just like he has said. So they have to be proactive in acting. Do you understand? They may not have that time to say, Pat Utomi is not in the country, we'll have to invite you. Or maybe he's on there for medical leave. Pat Utomi has been in this game for a while. He's not too young.
No, come on. He was the MD of
Volkswagen back in Lagos,
1967.
Pat Utomi is of the upper echelon.
And so his discredit, he ran down Volkswagen.
So he could be in the US or whatever for medical tourism or things like that. DSS are not going to fold their hands and wait until they invite him for him to come. They have to be proactive, and they have done so by using our court. Look at their prayers. To me, we shouldn't always think the people are against our law enforcement agency. No, once they act within the ambience of the law, we love what they are doing.
And then in this matter again, we should also look at it this way. The approach, we praising the DSS, for their matured way of approach in this matter. Let it also extend to every other Nigerian in case there's an issue like this. Because it may be because of the position of Pat Utomi or because he's not in the country. Who knows? They could have gone to boggle him. Or probably wait for him when he's coming into the country, if not for the urgency in addressing this matter, for people who may not understand.
They could have declared him wanted if they didn't want to go to court.
So, yes, and we should also be grateful anyway because it's democracy. Under military administration of Babangida, it was just a hearsay that Vatsa had that there was going to be a coup. He wasn't part of the coup, and he went in for it. So we should also be a bit careful, how we go, airing our feelings.
No, this is also not a coup, because even Pat Utomi made it clear that these people do not have budget to run, that these people are not coming to usurp executive power. But the idea is that people could misunderstand this, and you have other avenues to criticize the government. Why pass through something that people cannot misconstrue and misuse at the end of the day? So I think the DSS was just being proactive.
Well, I'm not really a good fan of Pat Utomi because I feel that there are things he could have done better. From the time he started trying to be president, I'm not really his fan, because I feel that anybody in this country that position were assigned to you and you misused it and nothing ever came out of it and he died. I knew when we had an assembly plan of Volkswagen, he was managing Volkswagen and he ran in the ground. For whatever reason, I don't know. But leaders must be held accountable. I read a profile of a minister yesterday. I won't want to mention his name.
Why?
No, this is just, he has been ministers. Many times.
Let me tell you.
And they are still making him a minister.
Let me tell you. The other day, when OBJ, one of our most respected presidents, talked about we are not finished. He was addressing people when Sule Lamido was launching his book. He said we are not finished. The work we've started, that we have to continue because we are not yet where we are supposed to be. Why that sounds like an elder statesman's
They are finished.
We don't want them again. They are done. Enough of them, because we have to do something differently. If what they've been doing since have not led us to anywhere
where we are right now,
we're even seeing some metrics behind us that were better than where we are today. I think at the end of the day, we can tell them, bye-bye, Mr. President. It is finished. Let's move forward.
Nigeria has to move forward.
Like you rightly say, I'm not a fan of IBB. But Babangida came out and admitted a lot of his errors, mostly over the June 12th, whatever. So if we have privileged elder statesmen who are still alive today, whom were in position in corridor of power, whom feel they've not finished, they should be able to tell us their lapses, their mistakes, and encourage the youth.
We don't have all that time. If not, I would have taken you on that Babangida disease. I'm not a fan of Babangida. I feel he has destroyed Nigeria to a large extent, and I also feel that him coming out in his days of almost passing out of the system, now gathering everybody, and they are clapping for him. I felt it was an insult to Nigeria. For whatever reason, I want to put that aside. But ministers should not be recycled. This particular minister I'm talking about, they are the minister essay. Come on.
No, remember I said something the other day. When Dr. Baba Ahmed appealed to Asiwaju,
yes, and
not only Asiwaju, every other person, maybe well above 70, that have kind of given their shot before, that they should stay away from 2027.
And advice
that they should retire. I said Nigerians should have another metrics of retirement. It shouldn't be only by age alone. These people that have been there, second tenure, fourth tenure, sixth tenure, in our legislature, we should retire them. You see, being re-elected should be based on your performance metrics.
Exactly.
Not essentially that you are still young.
Yeah, exactly.
So Dr. Baba Ahmed should extend that retirement plan or retirement
advice
to those who have been there and nothing
not performing.
Is happening.
Look, I don't want to engage with this money. We'll soon come back on this side.